Hey guys, so today's video is going to be me talking about married locks and how to avoid them. Before we jump right in, if you like what you hear on my channel today or you want to hear more about what I have to say, please feel free to hit the subscribe button down below and click on the little bell if you want to actually be notified about each video I upload, okay? Also, quick apology for the delay in getting back to you, but we did end up moving, so we're at the new place here now, and I'm hoping this lighting and setup is good for you because this window view is just amazing. Anyway, okay. So, married locks. First of all, what are married locks? Married locks are when two locks start combining at the root, and you basically didn't plan on it, right? You'll basically have like one big afro texture thing going on up here, and it's almost like a two-headed dragon, right? Now the next thing would be, why is that a problem, right? Really, it's, I guess, not a huge problem unless you're like me and many other people out there and you're not trying to freeform, right? So for people who are freeforming, it is what it is. It's not really an issue. However, for those of you who want to freeform or maybe semi-freeform, that can be a problem because it's not really the look you want. You don't have individual locks at that point anymore. And you kind of put the roots of your hair at risk for strain and tearing when you're trying to separate those locks, okay? So now today we're going to just be talking about kind of what it is and quick tips to avoid it. But when it comes to actually separating your locks, I'll do that in a separate video, okay? So before you can really work these tips, you need to kind of understand how married locks happen, right? So married locks happen at some point when your hair or your roots of your hair start to rub together. They get tangled together and they kind of dry together, right? And the reason I say dry together is because the majority of the time this happens is when your hair becomes wet, whether it be from sweat, from washing your hair, from moisturizing. And at that point in time, your hair becomes more malleable and the loose hair start doing whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, if you don't separate them or do anything to prevent all that tangling or correct that tangling before your hair dries, at that point you create that marriage or that connection between the two locks, okay? So tips, right? What do you do about it? Because it's not just enough to know how it starts, but what do you do about it? So the types of tips I have are going to address different parts of the problem, okay? So if we want to address the tangling piece of it, one tip would be to sleep with a scarf or with your head covered some kind of way, okay? It's very important, whether it's a bonnet, a braid cap, or one of the longer, like kind of do-rag looking things. Covering your roots is the most essential. Not only will it help you retain moisture in your hair, but it'll prevent your hair from rubbing and moving around too much, you know? If you're not someone who can sleep in a scarf or anything like that, even just tying your hair back with a quick little rubber band or anything, just so that your roots are kind of stretched, will prevent them from moving around too much, okay? Kind of same thing, tying your hair back if you know that you're going to be moisturizing your hair or your hair's going to get wet through the shower, working out, just pulling it back, kind of like what I have right now. It doesn't have to be too tight, but just keeping your hair in place. That way it can dry thoroughly, fully separated, and you don't risk more tangling, okay? Another thing to do is going to be to control the moisture in your hair, especially at your roots, okay? I'm not in any way giving you permission or telling you not to moisturize your hair frequently. There's nothing wrong with that, especially your roots. If they need it, feel free. However, you want to be careful about when you moisturize your roots, right? If you're going to be moisturizing your roots at a time where you cannot control what it does before it dries, that might be a problem, right? An example of this would be washing your hair and not retwisting and just letting it fly and do whatever it wants, right? I'm not saying you have to retwist, but you probably want to style it, pull it back, or separate it some before it dries, okay? And if you don't have enough time to do that, you may want to wait to wash or moisturize your hair. So just really being careful of when you decide to do that, okay? And I guess the last tip I would have would just be to separate your locks periodically. It's very, very important. Whether you're washing, moisturizing, you just worked out, you know, your hair, you sweated at night, whatever it is, you want to try to separate your locks periodically. I'd say at a minimum once a week. If you're going to be trying to go longer without retwisting or just depending on your routine, a minimum of once a week, you're probably moisturizing or washing or whatever you do with your hair. And like I said, I'll make a separate video on separating, but essentially what it is just while your hair is wet, making sure that you fully pull your locks apart. Okay, just pull them apart, even if it doesn't look like, you know, any strands are connected, even if it doesn't look like you're having any mirroring. You actually are doing more preventative maintenance, and you'll notice a huge difference if you continue to do that during and after your wash. And one last tip for you guys would be, just when you wash, like I said, you'll notice that difference from separating once you get to your wash, but when you're actually washing, instead of just doing whatever, right? Save yourself some trouble and just grab sections of your locks and hold them tight, so when you're shampooing at your scalp, you can make sure that you're not, you know, rubbing anything together or mixing anything or creating more tangles than necessary. So that's really all the tips that I have. Like I said, I'll make a separate video showing you specifically how to separate when moisturizing or just after you washed. But there is hope. You know, for me, like I've mentioned in previous videos, it was about at the 2-year mark where my hair started naturally avoiding the mirroring on its own, just because I guess of how mature my locks were. But that doesn't mean you have to be miserable for the first couple of years into your journey. So yeah, but thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your continued support. Just to give you a heads up, I have already kind of planned out or mapped out my videos for the month of September. I've got it set to where I'll have 2 videos a week, and I've got some pretty good topics coming up. Just to give you a heads up, I've got everything from like a chunky braid out I'm gonna do for you guys, talking about the benefits of locks, my nighttime maintenance or nighttime routine. My 3-year anniversary is coming up in a couple of weeks. Quick styles on like unretwisted locks if you don't want to do that. 5 signs you're ready for locks. Of course, the separating your locks video that I mentioned, and just a video talking about, are locks really expensive, you know, or are they hard to maintain? But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.